Think you know what way it's going to go? Make your bet at Sports Interaction.
We're on the road to the Super Bowl, and Sports Interaction has you covered pregame, live betting on all major sports and prop bets.
Want to bet? Head to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN.
19 plus, please play responsibly.
She scores!
Take a moment to look up at the ceiling. You're about to bust through it.
SDPN, the PWHPA, and Sports Interaction.
Want to bet?
Presents hockey like you've never heard it before. The Knoxy and Kax Show with Liz Knox and Karell Emard.
Let's get it. Go.
Welcome back to Knoxy and Kax on SDPN. We've been looking forward to our next guest for feels like years. It's definitely been months. I'm not even kidding. We probably mentioned her name or talk about her at least once an episode. She was born in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, a member of the Wahnapitae First Nations tribe, which is a band of the Ojibwe First Nation, University of Wisconsin Badger alumnus, member of the U.S. Women's National Team Olympian, and of course, we know her as leading scorer on the Team Sonnet Slappers in the PWHPA, Abby Roque. Thank you so much for coming on.
Welcome.
Thank you guys for having me.
Welcome. I mean, we've promised our, listeners for over maybe 4 episodes at least that you were coming.
I think we promised them before we even really asked you, which is a bold strategy.
We knew we could get her on this. Come on. That's all it is.
I was 100% going to say yes. So
sweet.
Well, we figured that. And not sure if you know this, but we were kind of alluding to it before the episode, but you've become a big fan favorite in the PWHPA. So much so, I actually reached out to some of our members of our media team, our operations team, marketing team, people that don't really know you personally for their favorite Abby Roque story. And it was a handful of us in this group chat, and it just was bing, 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 just blowing up. I was like, okay, everyone slow down, everyone remain calm. But we want to know, before we get to that later in the episode, if you have a favorite PWHPA memory so far.
I think so far, one of the coolest things we did was the COVID year. Obviously, it was pretty tough. We didn't get to play a lot of games, but I think we had some really cool experiences over here. Some of the venues, playing in Madison Square Garden, I think was one of the coolest things that we could have done. I do remember I was getting ready for the game on a couch because we were in this weird room because they had to separate us from all the other teams by a lot. And I was like, I don't even care. I'm at MSG. I'll get ready on the couch.
That's right. Because they needed to give space and everything. And probably you guys make sure that, the COVID stuff and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But that speech was just phenomenal from a watching standpoint, us listening to everything. I don't know how you guys felt, but yeah, it seems like it was the one event and the one venue that really marked everyone.
It was really cool. We got to play in some cool rinks in general that year, but that one, just being able to play at that rink, because even going to a game there, it's completely different than other NHL rinks. It's so fun. I don't know how to explain it.
I was going to say, have you ever been to a Rangers game there?
Yeah, a couple times, and they're always just a great time.
That's so cool. Yeah, it's a really cool environment. The ceiling, obviously, and then as Kax is saying, the Billie Jean King speech, which you hear in our intro weekly on the Knoxy and Kax show. It's just it was such a cool moment, and yeah, it was cool to observe too. I would have loved if we could have all been there, but like you say, COVID years, and we just made the most of it. I mean, the American girls got to experience it, which is
lucky you.
Yeah, fantastic. Jealous.
Yeah. It was fun for us, I will say. But I wish obviously COVID wasn't around, so we could have played a couple more games, but it was pretty cool. The games we did play that year were really awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. Okay, cool. So take us back to Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, which, as we said, is in Michigan. I know the Canadian Ontario people will be like, hey, Sault Ste. Marie's in Ontario. No, there's also Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. So you grew up a dual citizen, but you grew up in Michigan. So take us back there, what it was like growing up.
Yeah, I grew up in the Sioux. I actually was born in good old Potsdam, New York.
No way. What?
Okay.
And you didn't become a Golden Knight?
No, my dad was the assistant coach at Clarkson at the time.
Okay.
Okay.
So I grew up in the Sioux since I was 4. My dad played college at Lake Superior State University and then went back and coached there. So that's where I grew up there and everything. Kind of why, obviously, got into hockey. They tried to put me in figure skates, and I like actually hated my life. So I got out of that eventually, but like I was forced to figure skate for quite a while there before my parents were like, okay, she can play hockey.
Oh, wow. Usually it's like a year, you know, you learn to skate a little and then just like, okay, she's waiting for the pucks. Like we need to switch it up. But how long were you skating for? A couple of years?
Well, I've probably been skating. Like I had a backyard rink every year growing up. Like every single year, like I learned to skate like back there. But like all my pictures, I'm in like figure skates and like have a hockey stick though.
Yes.
I was like playing hockey. But I think it was like my parents finally were like, okay, 6 months of figure skating at least, and then you can switch. And I remember I like counted down the days. So because I think they thought I would give up. Like I think they just assumed I would forget. I was like, I'm done.
It's just
it's a phase now. Let's go.
Yeah.
Switch it up.
Yeah, I think we can all relate to that actually, because I'm a little bit older than you. I'll say a little bit, but my first picture, like with a hockey stick in my hand, I have like a Ninja Turtle like bike helmet and then a hockey stick, but I'm in figure skates. It's just like, this kid is not going to be an athlete, but and I wasn't.
Everything against you, and that's why you became a goalie. It all makes sense.
That's why I'm on this side of the mic now. No, I'm just kidding. No, that's awesome. And your dad was like heavily, as you said, he coached, at the university level. He ended up coaching, or he was scouting in the NHL, right?
Yeah, he scouts right now for the Maple Leafs, actually. He works for the Leafs. After he stopped coaching, he was with the Coyotes for a second there, and he's been with the Leafs ever since.
Nice. I got to ask you then, who's your favorite NHL team?
You got a lot of mix here.
I was gonna say, like, as a kid, like, I was a Michigan kid, so it was, like, usually, like, the Wings, and it was when they were winning a lot, like, too. I was, like, growing up, like, Datsuk was there, Lidstrom, they were, like, the team. But, like, obviously now the Leafs. Gotta go with the fam.
Nice. Support the boys in blue.
It's okay. I'll let it slide. It's all good. Whatever. It's Toronto.
Cole Caufield, though.
Oh, true. Yeah, exactly. You got to support your boy, right?
Yeah, great kid.
You have a connection to Cole?
I went to school with him at Wisconsin.
Nice.
So him and his older brother were both Badgers while I was there. So it was great getting to know both of them. They're great people, good family, like good hockey kids.
He seems like a great guy. Like obviously we see him from afar and whatnot, but the love of like the game and stuff, like he just brings it back. Like the smiles, and he's like out there just being a kid. Like how old is he now? Like 23, 22, 24? I don't even know.
Probably. I think he was a freshman my senior year, maybe, or maybe junior. So
because he didn't graduate, he left like sophomore year, right, or something.
Yeah, he left after his sophomore year.
Yeah, so like, yeah. Anyways, I just like I love how much he loves it. I think he brings that back to our city here in Montreal. We needed him. He's out now, sadly, but we'll hope for a long-term contract soon.
And you guys must have had some friendly competition between your men's and women's team in those days. I mean, we'll talk a little bit more about Wisco in a little bit, but you guys had a very competitive women's team while you were there. Were you guys like, chasing records between the two of you?
Well, I will say while we were there, the men's team never quite made it as far as the women's team. The year after I left is probably the best year they had, when they had like Caufield and Holloway and all these kids. They had a really good season that year. We always joke because it was COVID year, so they didn't let them play in the Cole Center because there was no fans. So it was the one year they've ever played in Le Bon, which is the women's rink. And everybody was like, it was our best year ever. It's like Le Bon.
We got to play in the women's rink now.
It's a good luck charm.
Exactly. Lots of games there, so.
Yeah. So, okay. So we'll go back a little bit then to kind of like your high school days. You played high school hockey on the boys team. You're the only female. Tell us a little bit about that experience. That's unique. Like, I feel like most of us probably played boys hockey at some point or another, and that normally in the high school ages, you like switch over and play girls hockey. So talk us through that team kind of culture.
Yeah, that was for sure. That was a big debate even for me. Like I wouldn't say my dad as much. He was kind of like, play wherever you want. But my mom was definitely like kind of freaking out when I was making a jump from even like when you're younger, like the kids are always bigger than me. Like I wasn't either like a very strong kid entering high school or anything. So I think they were like nervous. Like they were like, do you want to go to like Shattuck? Because I'd had conversations with them, or like Naha, or like go play in a women's program. And I remember it was just like, if I can make, like, I was worried I wasn't going to make the high school team that year was my main concern. I was like, I might need to go play somewhere else, or else I'm going to be playing like double B. So I was like, okay, like but I ended up making the team that year. I was the only freshman on that roster. So that was what was really interesting.
Oh, sick.
Most of the kids
only freshman.
Yeah.
Damn.
So it was interesting though, because for me, like, I'd always grown up with like the same boys playing wise. But that year, from like most of the teams I've ever been on, there was only like two sophomores who I normally played with. Like I knew all the kids because it's a very small town and stuff, but they were always great. Like I was like, that year was like probably the most nerve wracking one, because I was like, I don't really know a ton of these guys, but a lot of them like really just stepped right in, like took care of me like no others. Like the first 2 years, especially, like if I was like in a scrum, like people would definitely jump in right away trying to help me, and I'd be like, no, I'm good. Like,
what happened after the 2 years? They just like, she got herself in trouble, she'll figure it out? Or
like junior and senior year, I think most of the time, like I was the one defending some of my whatever. But yeah, like my freshman year especially, like I had one teammate, and he was just a wild one sometimes, and I was like, I got like hit in front of the net, like it was fine, like little scrum, I'd turn around, and like our coach had him by like the jersey, like pulling him back because he was like trying to jump over the bench, and I was like, what's going on? And I like, didn't really I didn't question anything. I just like went and stayed to the bench, and he comes in between periods, and he's like, what are you doing? Like our coach, he's like, she's fine. He's like, she's not fine, like yelling, and I was like, I'm good. Like,
he was very protective, man. That's it.
Well, we're all good, but yeah, like obviously it's other teams. Depends on the team. How some teams would just run me through the boards all game. Other teams were super cool about it. We're like, it's awesome, you're playing like boys. Like, just depends what you're gonna get.
Like respected your talent and stuff, and not just wanted to like basically hurt you because you're just a girl on the other side.
Yeah, really. Most teams were like, hey, like it's really cool you're playing. We had a couple where like I would actually just like take a beating the whole game. I was like, all right.
Wow.
Is it contact in like high school boys? Because in Ontario, at least, I don't know what it's like for you, Kax, but in Ontario, like all high school hockey is non-contact.
Really?
Yeah.
I think like you guys is like, or yours
like more
was like contact like since you're like as soon as you're 13 or something, isn't it?
When I was growing up, it was contact since like Pee-wee's here, which is like I don't even remember.
12. I think
yeah, that's same here. Like if on your like club team, but I guess it's kind of different.
There's a difference. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I don't know here.
Full contact.
Yeah, I was normally like
put that mouth guard in and go. That's it. You're safe.
Because that's mouth guard is required in high school, and I'd always have it in my glove.
Of course. Oops.
So I want to ask you this actually, because we saw this year the SDHL added contact in women's hockey. Basically, like my understanding of it, don't quote me on this because I haven't read like the rule book or anything, but like they're allowing body contact along the boards, but nothing open ice. What's your take on that? And like, do you see that in the future of the women's game?
I think it should. I can't stand it.
We can't be surprised by that.
I would stand with you, Abby, on that.
Yeah, you wish that. I'm like, yeah, but I just think the main thing is like you get people, especially in like girls hockey, like it's a very interesting sport because you can be like so many different body sizes and types and play hockey, which I think is very cool in this sport. But like, there's so many times where I'm like, if I go on the boards with somebody else, like nobody's falling, but if I go into the boards with this person and they fall, that's the only reason it's a penalty, not because like, I'm like, I think that aspect, especially along the boards, I'm like, just let it go. Like we all rub each other out. Like anyways, like that's how we play the sport. Like it is physical regardless. So I'm like, just let that stuff go. Like it's all good. And I just think it makes it faster too. Like when I was playing boys, like if I'm like have the puck and I know I'm about to get smoked, you gotta find somebody to pass it to. Where in girls, you can try to like protect it because they can't really hit you. Like that was my first year of college. I would always like my coach would be like, keep the puck. And I was like, well, I'm passing it. And he'd be like, you have more time than you think. I was like, oh yeah, nobody's coming to kill me.
It's true. And then the whole aspect of like being able to place the puck in like space, right? I think like if you actually watch Abby play, if you take the time to do it and everything, the amount of time that she will like roll over, like whatever, cut back, protect it, and then we'll send it into space. There's no one there. But then the first one is like one of us on that team to get in there. That's the men's game to me that we do not do enough. And then the other aspect is the fast, like how you need to move it. It's also like keeping your head up. Like I find it so dangerous. Sometimes I'm like, head up. Like I just like, people are like looking for passes and completely looking behind. And I'm just like, there's like an aspect of it that people will expect a hit one.
Yeah.
So then there's like, okay, it's a bump, and then we keep going, and you feed off of that energy too, right? You bounce off the wall, and then you just go. I think it would make it safer in the end because no one is like expecting this hit right now, and it's coming. And then other people are just like, yeah, like I know it's going to be a bump, like Jenner and I on the wall for sure. There's a bump or whatever, it's going to happen, or there's things like that. Like, but it's just, that's hockey. So I feel what you're saying, Abby. I feel like it's not going to slow down the game, which is something that I've heard too. Like,
no, absolutely not. I do think it's a safety thing too. Like, I think there's more concussions in girls hockey than boys hockey.
Yeah,
I think it's completely because girls like don't expect to get hit. So when they do get hit, it's so much worse because it's like, it's never on purpose. It's just like collisions and stuff because girls are like looking like, that's what I used to think was crazy when I first went to college. And I walked girls up the middle of the ice like this, and I'm like, you're going to get killed. Yeah. And you won't because you can't hit them. But I was like, if I did that in boys hockey, like my head is on the ground.
Oh,
like,
you know the D stopped and is coming at you. He's not even hesitating. Like he's coming right away.
If I'm getting that pass, and girls, sometimes I would like go like this and like flinch, and I'd be like, oh, never mind.
Yeah. Just tip it and go. Nobody's there. No, but that's part of the game for sure. I should be.
Yeah, I was just going to say the other thing is like you can obviously still protect players by having like the same charging head contact penalties. Like you can't be a lunatic on the boards, but
no,
I agree. I would like to see, in fact, at some levels, like I've watched some university hockey where they're just getting different referees and the referees actually let them play along the boards. And I'm like, man, these girls get away with way more than our girls do. And like our girls are pro athletes who train, 4 or 5 times a week, like have the muscle mass, have the heads up play. So I'm just like, why is this like 19-year-old kid allowed to get crushed on the boards? And yet like, I just want to see Abby Roque run somebody over. Like, is that too much to ask? No, but like I grew up playing with Joss LaRock, and like she's the same thing. Like she always leads in penalty minutes because she's rock solid. Like no pun intended.
It does suck. Yeah, it's just like, okay, I hit them, like, especially like my freshman year, I think I led the NCAA in penalty minutes, and I was like, okay, like I'm not even trying to do anything.
I knew we had something in common. I just knew it. Just kidding.
I learned better like as it went on, but I remember there would be times where like I thought the girl was just going to hit me, and I'd just like brace for impact, and they'd go flying. I'd be like, well,
and you have the puck, right? You're having you have the puck, you skate with it, and you just and then you get the penalty. I was like, fuck, really? Like mine was my sophomore year though. I didn't learn. I guess I think honestly, my freshman year, people were bigger and stronger, and then sophomore year, either I trained hard or something happened over the summer and lost the 15 and then gained the muscle mass or something. I don't know what it was, but then I was the most penalized player on the least penalized team in the ACAC. Like, make it make sense. Make it make sense. 86 minutes went down the drain that year. But like, I just, like you said, like I wasn't even looking to hit, nothing. Like it was like, I was like, I don't know what it was, but yeah, I think like you're naming a couple players and I'm just like picturing playing body checking allowed and everything. People would be hurting, to be honest. Like it's a little bit of, you need to get used to it, getting hit all day long.
I also don't think they're going to come out of the gate like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to tee this person up. But
Knoxy, you finish your hit, like there's like, it's more like you need cardio. I'm sorry, but finishing your hit on every single freaking shifts you're playing out there, good luck, buddy. Like you're dead after 2 hits because you skated your hardest to get this person and to get potentially the puck back. But then just the physicality of it all, or taking these hits, those come in.
It would take like 5 games for people, I think, to settle. I think at first some people would be like, I'm going to like hit everybody. And some people would be like, so scared. Exactly. Like I'm like, it would take like a couple games, then people would like mellow out. It would just be like normal again, I think. But I think the first couple of days would be hilarious.
Yeah. You're fine. Yeah, that's true. They should film it. Just set them free.
Let's see these. Yeah. And
let's see what happens.
I have a lot of opinions for somebody who spent my entire career sitting in blue paint just watching you guys go at it. So
you never get hit, so whatever.
yeah.
you get pucked to the face. Abby Roque shot in the face. I wouldn't stand in front of that stuff.
Don't sign me up for that one. We will get into some of your Wisconsin days here, but before we do, I want to ask you, as a member of the Wanapitei First Nation, you become a role model to a lot of athletes. Young, old, people that you compete against, people that watch you, and even non-athletes. What makes you most proud to represent Indigenous women specifically on the national and international world stage?
Yeah, I think obviously like the main thing is that I was like the first person from the US side to be on that women's national team as an Indigenous player. And I think that was one of the biggest things for me is I guess I didn't realize beforehand how big of a deal it was, I think, because I had already always assumed like somebody else had been there. I don't know why. Like I didn't find out till in an interview they asked me and I was like, what are you talking about? And they were like, yeah, if you make this team, you'll be the first one. And I think I was like, oh, okay. I was like, no pressure. But so I think that was like a big thing is that like it's just representation and like being able to see somebody doing it who like is like you and who like comes from the same heritage as you is like something that a lot of kids need just in general. Not even if they go all the way to the Olympics, that's awesome. But just in general, if they want to play hockey at all, like play at a lower level, just like get involved with the sports. Like when we do like school visits and stuff, me and some of the other Indigenous players, it's like the kids are just awesome because they're just like, they just want to talk to you and they're like, we play hockey, and they're not saying like, a lot of them, some of them will be like, I want to go to the Olympics, but other ones are just like, we love watching you play. Like we love playing hockey. Like, I think that's the main thing is it gives them like the interest
like
to just be involved in the sport and that becoming more inclusive.
Yeah. Like they belong and they can actually do it. Like as silly as it sounds. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's so cool. I actually didn't know you were the first one either. I thought there was like other women before you that, had made the team and everything. That's crazy. Like, okay, officially you made the national team. What was the first year officially? Full on
2019. And there'd been, Sydney Daniels, I think, had made a national team or two, but she never made like that Olympic level. And she was somebody who was like older than me, who I looked at for sure. She went to Harvard. She was really good. I remember at that like U18 level I saw her play. It was so good, but
yeah, that is cool. 2019 was the first one. Like that is crazy too to me that it took this long at the same time too. And congrats for being. Yeah, really. You should be proud. Yeah, and good for. Yeah, that's awesome. Frick.
Well, and as like more like kind of a personal story, honestly, most of my family is near Sudbury. Like my grandparents and my cousins, and so that's like just north of Wanapitei Lake. And my grandma was like kind of the last recognized generation of Métis. And when Bridget Laquette made the Canadian Olympic team, she was like an old lady. So she was trying to send me an article that she was reading online. So what she did was she pulled it up on her computer and took a picture of it with her digital camera and then emailed me that picture, which is just like the most grandmother thing to do. But she was just so proud. And that's why I say, like, it's incredible for the next generation of athlete to see you. But it's also like, you have like plenty of people at all different ages looking at this being like, oh my gosh, like this is somebody that, looks like me, represents me. So really, really proud of you. And as Kax said, congratulations on the first, but, won't be the last, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping for, right? More players.
Yes.
There you go. There you go.
Take it from that backyard rink and find your way to Wisconsin University.
That's it.
Or something of the like. So we want to know, you wore number 18 at Wisco. Now you wear number 11. Do you have like a number story for either of those numbers?
So number 18, I actually was U18 Worlds. I was a junior at my U18 Worlds that year, and they literally just like gave me number 18. And we ended up winning that year. So when I was going to college, one of my incoming freshmen had already taken the number that I wanted. Like I was 14 in high school, and I'm honestly kind of glad. I think I looked better. I looked better in 18, but
love it. I love it. I love the number like ideas. I love it. It just looked good together.
Sure, but so when I went to the national team, obviously. One of my best friends is Sophia Shaver. She plays on Harvey's. Her brother passed away my freshman year of college, her sophomore, and he wore number 11. So I was like, I'll for sure love to wear number 11, took 11. And then recently too, one of my high school teammates, he actually died last year at Worlds, and he was born on the 11th too. So now I just kind of wear with the number of you guys. So
that's really cool.
Mm-hmm. But it's
love
a
the story, Abby.
Yeah, thank you. I love the number though. I think it even looks better than 18. So I'm like, okay.
11 is very much you. Let me put it that way. When someone gives you this is so you as a compliment for something, I think that number is very you. And I love the reasons why you're wearing it too. I think it makes it easy.
I mean, they were both obviously very important people in my life. And my buddy from high school was like one of the ones who always took care of me. His name was Aaron Lasecki. So just like to represent.
You're keeping them with you, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
They're following you everywhere you go, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, what a great way to honor their memory. And I'm sure that Sophia, appreciates that too. Okay, well, I'm like gonna collect myself now. Geez, normally it's like
emotional here and there, but like no, usually it's a silly story or whatever. But like we also get the emotional one. We cried like a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, we love all the emotions on the Knoxy Kax show. We laugh, we cry,
we feel the guests.
So I started taking AG1 as part of my morning routine. And as someone who's always on the go and trying to get the right nutrition is something that I've struggled with for years. But AG1 honestly makes it so convenient. Like one scoop in the morning, it's all your health products in one. I just have my AG1, my coffee, and I'm ready to go. By far, the easiest habit I've added to my daily routine in 2023.
So I love it. I love it because it helps me to know that I'm hitting my vitamins and my greens intakes daily. I also feel phenomenal physically. I have more energy for the gym, for my work day, and even for practices whenever I have them during the week. I also love to start the new year with some goals. We spoke about it to keep that kind of like in the focus of like self-care, self-help, and AG1 is helping me have a healthier lifestyle right now. And my routine is easy to keep. I'm telling you, this one is a guaranteed achievable goal for this year and a new healthy habit I will keep for sure moving forward. So I love it. Thank you, AG1.
If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/TKKS. That's athleticgreens.com/TKKS. Check it out. So I do want to know, because you went to Wisconsin, the question everybody is asking is, did you have a scooter?
I did. And my scooter was stolen my freshman year. Yeah, I had this. It was like, I remember my parents like didn't want me to have a moped, so they were like, if you want one, you have to pay for it yourself. I was like, I'm not walking. So I all my grad money from my grad party on this scooter, and it was like, I loved it. It was blue. It was a little Buddy 50, and I remember I like came out to go to like morning lift in the summer because we go every summer winter at Wisconsin, and I'm like, where is my moped? And I could not find it. And I thought like the freshman guys were playing a prank on me and like moved it, like pushed it around a corner. So I was like, we're already late. I was like, I don't have time. Like, I'll find it later. Like, go to Lyft with my friends, like had them double scoot me, which is also illegal.
Double scoot.
Like, you get a ticket for that if the police see you. So I was like, somebody's got to double scoot me to I think we're at the football stadium. I come back and I'm like, all right, guys, like, where's my moped? And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, where is it? And then I realized it was stolen. So it was like calling 911. I was like, oh, and I was like, my moped is stolen. They're like, this is for emergencies. I was like,
who's the person for robbery? Like, where? What's the number?
They were like, call the police department. I was like, oh, sorry. Hung up. Like, I've never had to call 911 before or the police. So I was like, all right. And then, it was stolen all summer. I bought this, like, I was like, I can't afford another, like, nice one. So I bought this, like, moped that was, like, it was, like, could barely move.
Like, you just didn't want to walk.
Well, nobody's going to steal a piece of crap.
Yeah. So I was like, using this. And then I get a call at the end of summer, like, we found your moped. And I was like, no. I like hop in an Uber. I remember like go to this place and I'm like, the guy's like, yeah, it's drivable. The police officer calls me. It was like stripped to the bone. Like there was no front, but it was drivable, but there was like no front. It was just like a metal pole. And like,
tell me you kept driving it. Tell me you kept it.
I drove it. And then I went and got it fixed and I finally had it back. But
oh my God. How does one prevent their scooter from getting stolen?
Well, normally you can at least like lock the like wheel normally. So like if somebody wants to walk it, it walks in a circle. And I did it that day, but in general, yeah, like somebody can easily just pick it up and walk away with it. Like you just put it in. So you can't really, honestly.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh.
I wish you put a bike lock in your wheel or something. Like
I should have done something. I should have put like an air tag in it or something. But we had girls who just leave their keys in their cup holders, like at Wisconsin, and be like, nobody will see it. And I'm like,
you were just unlucky. They saw yours and were like, that's the one I want.
It was just too pretty.
Sure, it might not have been Clarky, but somebody was like needed to borrow somebody's moped for the week. And she was like, yeah, it's like the black one. And there was multiple black ones. And was driving the wrong moped the whole week because they found the key in the cup holder. And it was like not the moped she was supposed to be driving.
There's like some serious moped etiquette happening at the University of Wisconsin. Like, I'm surprised that they don't get stolen more often, given the fact that, they're just sitting there and keys are in them and people need to live. Like, people don't want to walk.
Mine's like the only one that I didn't know has been stolen in actually the past 7 years. So
that's incredible.
I haven't heard of anyone gotten stolen. Like, you're the first one. Yeah. Crazy. It must have been a pretty one then. Maybe we need a picture.
I loved it. I put stickers on it.
Oh,
it was sad. And my friends also started playing pranks. They would steal my mirrors, and I thought somebody was actually stealing my mirrors. And it was my friends. They were like taking them off and hiding them. And I was like, you guys, like I was so mad about this.
And then at the end of the season, they're like, here's your garbage bag full of mirrors we've stolen all year.
They would take them. Like I was driving around with like one mirror on. Like I was like, whatever. And like finally they like gave me it back. I was like, what? This isn't funny anymore.
Be nice. So I guess you're the ones who get picked at, or you prank people.
Well,
kind of thing, eh?
I was just gonna say the pranks.
I was gonna say if the mirror thing was like you're playing the victim card here. I don't know if you did anything to anyone else's scooters per se.
I think in general I do get picked on good amount because I'll take any joke. Like I have no concerns. Like at my birthday parties in school, everybody still jokes about it because we would go around the table and it would be like, we did this thing at Wisconsin, like if it was somebody's birthday, it'd be like, one thing you like love about them, like go around the table, and mine would always be like, okay, one thing you hate about Abby, go. No. The table. And it was just like a roast. But it was always like, it was like the funniest dinner ever. I was like, always look forward to it.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Oh man.
Were you a prankster in college? Like, do you have any good pranks that you're really proud of?
We never did like anything crazy. We used to, one girl on our team used to always, like me and her, I got her actually over the summer I was there skating. She always like had so much hair in her hairbrush. We'd like take it out and put it in people's gloves.
Oh my God.
Like a hair ball. And like one time I think we put it in my girl's skate and like she didn't notice if we were waiting for it the whole practice until after. She like took her foot out and was like, what is this?
Okay, the glove, I'm just picturing, I'm like gagging-ish. Like, no. like you grab your gloves from above and just put,
Yeah. And it's just like hair.
Oh my God. That is actually really funny though. That's
good.
That's a very unique women's sports prank because we all know it. Like, we all know, like the showers. I mean, we used to have girls that would like after, when they're showering, it would just be like, put their hair on the wall.
You have to pick it up.
Yeah, it's like, what the...
Grab it and put it in the garbage, people. When people do that, because I lose crazy amount of air. I do it because I'm going to block this drain like crazy. I pick mine up. I go and
that's the type
remove it. Like, and I tell people to do it too because I freaking hate like hair in the shower. Never. I don't know what it is, man. It's
never
not that dirty, but
wildest dreams that I think we would be on our podcast talking about hair in the shower, but
we do this, guys. This is something we have to deal with. Okay,
it's a real thing.
Yeah,
it's a real thing.
That is a good prank. That is a very good.
That's
prank.
amazing.
That's one of the best one I've heard for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just funny to watch people's reactions. Like they're just like immediately grossed out. Like,
It is
A
cringy.
ball of hair. Do you wet the hair a little, like, or it's like fully? It's dry, and then I need details, I guess.
oh no, it's normally just like dry because like it'll be like whatever compiled in this one girl's like brush, and we'd always be like, all right, who are we getting? I would honestly probably get pranked at Wisconsin, especially. Like, the girls would come for me. So,
Do you have any pranks that, excuse me, were pulled on you that you remember that like stick out? I mean, obviously this stolen mirrors on the scooter.
I would say my freshman year, this one isn't like, I wouldn't say it's a prank. It was more like a joke, but for freshman summer, like obviously I'm new. And I remember like, I would always wear like, we have stadiums. So you're in the football field, like sun is beating on us and like, we're like doing stuff out there. And like, I just like to wear long sleeve shirts when I'm like working out, like, and I'd be like so hot. And I was just like, whatever, like I prefer it. And I come into the rink one day and there was like 20 short sleeve shirts like taped up in my stall. And I was like, what is this? And I like go over there and it was like Sarah Nurse and Michaela Johnson. They were seniors. They like wrote like a note and they're like, dear long sleeve Abby, like we're giving you some shirts. And maybe you can wear something.
That's actually nice.
Yeah, it was like all the shirts, like some were like kid sizes because I think they just must have went in the equipment room and been like, what can we have extra? And I was like, thanks guys. But I remember that was like freshman summer. So I was like, that's fun because like those are the seniors, like you haven't really like became like friends yet. And they were like so great to all of us, and Sarah especially and Michaela are just like hilarious. So I was like, that's good. That's a good one.
That's a nice prank. That's not a shit. This one isn't embarrassing or anything. Yeah. Oh,
And
good for them.
You mentioned some of the players that you played with at Wisconsin. Is that the reason? Were those players some of the reason why you chose to go there? What was the driving force behind University of Wisconsin?
Honestly, I went when my dad was coaching D1. He was playing there. I remember when I was a kid in their holiday tournament, and I remember I was like in the Cole Center. Not that age, I didn't even like. I was like too young to even realize like you're not playing boys hockey. But I was like, I want to go here. This place is so cool. Like this rink is insane. And then like you get older and you're in high school and you're like, okay, like there's other schools out there. And I remember I was like one of the last commits. Like I think I was the last one to commit to Wisconsin out of my class. And just like my U18 team, I remember was like one of the only girls not committed. I was like late junior year. I was like, which now is more common because of the rules, but then it was like not at all.
Yeah, no.
I was like waiting it out. And I remember I like had narrowed it down, but Wisconsin would like not offer me. I was like, they're like one of the only schools that would not offer me. I was like, all right, like whatever, like I'm going to go to U18s and then I'll figure it out after. Like I don't want to worry about it right now. And then right after U18s, like my junior year, they finally offered me a scholarship. And I was like, okay, well, I was like,
I guess so.
well, I was just like, I remember I was like, well, other teams like wanted me more clearly. So I was like, maybe I should. But then I was like, a lot of my friends were committed to Wisconsin and were already there from U18s. And like, I knew I like liked those people. And like one of my best friends was already committed there. I was like, okay, like I knew Sophia was already there. Like my best friend in my grade who ended up being my captain was committed there. I was like, I think this just like fits. And I went for it, and I'm really glad I did. But
that's awesome.
That's funny. That's funny
people make the experience, right? And it's great that you had so many people that kind of you could look to that were either already there or going there that you could be like, yeah, like you've had a positive experience. And you studied marketing, is that correct?
Yeah, I was a marketing major, business school.
Marketing.
Wow. Is there a backup plan kind of later in your career if, you know, when hockey is no longer the go-to?
You know, I think I like being around sports, so something around it. I don't know what exactly. Even in college, I was like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to major in. I was just like, whatever. And everybody's like, you need to apply to the business school, Abby. And I was like, okay, I guess. I'll never forget, I was like on a ski vacation and everybody was like, you have to submit it today. I was like, the slopes.
Priority, people.
And they were like, we're not leaving until you submit it. And it was like Sophia Shaver telling me that. She was like, submit it. I was like, okay. And then, because at that point I was like, I would do that. Like, I just want to do something general business, like something I could do anything with. So yeah, it ended up working out. So.
Oh, that's awesome. I feel like that's
people
how
around you again. That's it. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. And you gotta just kind of like go with the flow sometimes too. I mean, like you're always like not you, but the general you, like especially like varsity athletes are under so much pressure for like so many moments like in their, 18 to 22 kind of range. And it's like, at some point you're just like, you know what? It'll figure itself out. Like, granted, missing the date of applying to the school that you want to be in is would have stunted that a little bit, maybe, but you had good people in your corner.
Yeah, they made me do it. So,
and you guys had like a super successful kind of couple of years while you were there, especially obviously Natty champs in 2019. And you finished that season on a 9-game point streak, which is quite impressive. Not bad.
Not bad at all.
Never knew that. But I think all 4 years I think the standard though when I got there at that point was just like it wasn't like we make it to the Frozen Four. Like the standard was if you don't win, it's like a disappointment. Where like I know like a lot of other friends I talk to, they'll be like, no, like if we make it to the Frozen Four, like that's like incredible. And I'm like, we better make it to the Frozen Four. And then like the standard is to win. Like if it was anything less, it was just like that's how we were there. It was like it was a bust. Like my freshman year, we lost to Clarkson, and like it was just like especially devastating for those seniors like Sarah Nurse and like that group who had gone to a Frozen Four every year and never won. Like that was just like, so I was like, we need to get this back because we'd been on a drought there at Wisconsin. So 2019 was finally a good year.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because you went to the Frozen Four all 4 years.
Well, the senior year we got canceled.
That's right. That's right. My bad.
No, so
yeah, I was like still. Yeah, that's too bad. And that year you guys were good too. God,
yeah,
that could have been
that year, and I think we would give it for sure a good run again that year. So that was for sure a bummer.
How was that, by the way? We did talk about it a little bit with some of our other guests, but your year, like the COVID year,
I think
in Wisconsin,
we got the short end of the stick for sure. Like our grade in general, like it was like the grade like under us, like got like to play the next year.
Yeah,
right. Year, like you got like 5 chances to win almost instead of like we got 3. I was like, how did that happen?
Yeah, that's true. You really did.
I was like, we got to play in the tournament. I didn't get to play in the tournament. Like that's all I want is to win the championship. Like
yeah.
But we definitely got the short end of the stick. It was like I won't lie, like it's pretty sad like the whole summer because just like would we have won, whatever, but like you got to move on.
And for it being your last year too and stuff like that, right? So
that was crazy too. It's just like all of a sudden everybody's like, we're leaving. Me and 3 of my friends were like, let's go to Florida. But
yeah.
Let's go and think. We go to Florida.
Everybody's like, we need to go like home. Like, I don't know if we'll be able to get back into like Canada. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm like going to Florida.
Okay, well, good luck with that. I was going to say like, and maybe it is somewhat like a product of that year and like feeling like you didn't really get to end it the way that I'm sure all of your seniors wanted, but probably like even classmen underneath you, right? Like you still remain very close, it seems, at least from your social media that I crept today. With a lot of the girls from Wisconsin. You mentioned Shaver earlier, Clarkie, Nursey, Stefan. Tell us a little bit about maybe like your favorite memories with that group or trips, or just take us kind of through how
maybe another Florida trip type of thing.
We've been around, but no, those girls, like that's what I think was so great about Wisconsin is I'm like most of my best friends now are all from Wisconsin. Like my class is extremely close. Like I played with Kristen Campbell, and she was in my class, who I see now, obviously PW stuff all the time. Like love her. She always is killing me, even on the ice though, because I can hear her screaming. And I'm like, oh my God, this is PTSD from college. She is just like, it's like a lot of them. Like, and it's funny too, because like on our US team, like I don't have a single girl from Wisconsin who I played with. Like,
really?
They're all girls who I didn't play with who made the actual Olympic roster. Like 2 of my best friends were on centralization and didn't end up making it, but had played like worlds and stuff. But like the current roster had never played with any of them at Wisconsin, but on Canada I'd played with Anne, Renee, Soupy,
Clarky,
Sarah, like, so it's always funny because I'm always like, hey guys.
You have more teammates on the other side almost, and more friends on the other side.
Yeah, like obviously, like I go back a good amount of time. Like I try to go back like once or twice a year at least, like once in the summer and like skate and see like everybody. Just because a lot of those girls too were like a grade below me because of COVID years are still somehow like so yeah, I was just there actually the other weekend, like hanging out, seeing some of the girls, and we went for alumni weekend. That was fun. We went alumni weekend. Me and Clarky got to drop the puck, and we had like, it was kind of like our own alumni weekend. We were just like texting. We were like, okay, can we like all actually go this time? And we had a good amount of group that went. It was just like a blast. Like it was basically like, just like a little 3-day bender with the girls in Wisconsin again. So
love that.
Let's get back to college. I like it. Yeah, living it up again. Those are always fun.
But
I'm sure you're not like the person that kind of gets everyone riled up and ready to go either, or like, you know.
Well, that's what I was
shots or something.
Clarky will be like, I'm trying to go. Like Clarky's probably like, I'm done. Like, going there. I don't want to go to bed. We were playing like beer pong. I remember before one of the games at like the bar. It was like the whole alumni event though, so there was like athletes from every like a lot like team like there, and I was just like literally like not even like that bad, playing some beer pong, and like I was like competing, and I think Clarky was my teammate. I went to like run to get the ball, and I like slipped and just ate it, like hit my knee, like it felt so hard, and I like looked over, and there had to be like 40 people just like,
are you okay? You're cut off.
They're like, she's probably hammered. I'm like, I'm not.
I swear, I have it together. I just slipped.
Oh my gosh. That's awesome.
Amazing.
Okay. My question, because you said beer pong, if you had to choose between flip cup, beer pong, or slap cup, what's your go-to?
I'm really, flip cup's like my game. That's like, I'm really not good at beer pong, and I think I get bored. Like,
it's too long sometimes. Yeah. It's just too long. There's one freaking cup going. I agree. And then flip cup, it's kind of like round for round for round. Like you just, you can chirp the other team in front of you. There's like, I can see you thriving in that situation.
We started playing this game. 1 year Worlds got canceled, and we all went to Arizona, like probably like 12 of us, like the US girls, and Kessel's like, let's play musical flip cup. I'm like, what is that? And she like,
you flip.
So you flip when the music stops and you're walking with your cup. But like as you're walking, she like gives you instructions. So she would be like, okay, like, and we're like in a pool too, like on like this ledge, and she'd be
That's
like,
good.
She would be like cannonball into the pool. So you like have to like jump in, and then she'd be like crawl under the table, like she'd be like lunges, like jump on this person's back, like, and then all of a sudden the music stops and you could be anywhere.
You have to flip the cup.
So it's like Simon Says meets musical chairs meets flip cup.
Meets flip cup.
It's probably like one of my favorite games.
Kes is a genius.
Well, and she's good at it too. She'll make you do some crazy things. So she's just like, like whatever.
Does she have to do it too, or like she's just the one telling?
I think that's why she liked it, because she was in charge. So she was just like, you guys do what I'm saying, and she just sits there with the control of everybody there,
just orchestrating the whole thing. That's funny. Wow, coming to a college campus near you. Musical flip cup.
This
is catching on. I can already tell.
Brought to you by Abby Roque and Castle. I love it. You guys got to make it a real game. It's gonna happen. People can do it. In a party, it might be tough, but
somewhere. But it was just hilarious. I've never seen something funnier.
That's awesome. And then after kind of that COVID year, you joined the PWHPA. So you've been with us since year one, right? 2020, 2019.
Second year. Yeah, because we had year blue and white, and then we had COVID.
Oh, you weren't in blue and white year. Yeah. You didn't miss much. That was a very confusing year.
We did play a lot of hockey, but not really at the same time. So yeah, that was that.
I mean, we were just figuring it out. It's okay. This is what happens when you let players organize an association, and then we're going to go on tour. Like we pulled it together though. From year one to now, we're in year 4, I guess,
growing,
which is crazy. And with the exception, so you came in year 2 with the exception of the Olympic year. Kind of just tell us a little bit about the PWHPA, like, I don't know, something that keeps you sticking around this league, or I mean, obviously you've got a ton of teammates that still play. Sorry, I got a little frog in my throat there.
The old age, man. It's getting to you.
It is the old age. Gotta cut back on the cigarettes. Yeah, tell us about the PWHPA. Like, tell us about your experience post-college and kind of where you see this heading.
Yeah, obviously, we all know the goal and the just having a sustainable league, obviously. And I think we're in the right spot to make that happen. And I think that's the main thing, is just to make sure that we have this viable league for all of the best players in the world to play in and just play together and be under one roof, hopefully eventually. But I think for me, it's just like, it's where like so many, like we have all these national team players playing in it. It's like, it's always great hockey. I get to see obviously like tons of my friends, even our non-national team players, are obviously incredible players. And I do just have a blast at these things, as we probably know. Like, I think one of the best things, I was saying this, like centralization years and like that stuff can be just so stressful. Like when you're only playing national team and you're always like fighting for just like a spot on a roster, like
right.
It's like constant stress, and like being able to just have like the pro side to go along with it, like, because you're still trying to do all the same things. You're trying to get better. You're trying to win. But I just think it brings a different like atmosphere to it. Like, it kind of allows you to love hockey in a different form. Like, it's not just like this crazy stressful situation all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of, it brings you back. Like, it brings you some joy.
Well, it's
Go ahead,
I was going to say it's the casual part of the hockey side of things, right? So like the national, it's like pressure. And then you have like, you play the games that are the showcase right now and stuff. Like, do you feel more at ease? And then I would assume you're kind of like the leader of the Sonnet pack in terms of like the locker room vibe and everything. Like, do you bring that personality with, or have you been bringing that side of things with the since you joined type of thing? Like, just the glue. I feel like you're the glue girl. I think talent on the ice. You know what I mean? Like,
Sonnet's got some good personalities in that room, so I can't take a lot of credit. I die laughing every time we're in that locker room. I swear those girls are hilarious. Like, especially guys like who I didn't obviously know a lot before this year, and we have a great time. And I think that's a huge thing though too, is like, it's nice to get to play with other people. Like, you're not always on the same team and same line or whatever with like your USA hockey teammates who like I love playing in those USA like games, the USA Canada games, and obviously like the best games to play in. Like, you get so amped up for those, like such great games. But it's just like, it's nice to go. You have different, like I play with Jenner, who's obviously the Team Canada star. So it's just like, it's nice sometimes to have a switch up and like get to know these people who like I literally only knew on the ice. I'm like, most of these girls like probably hate me.
You know, it's funny that you say that, actually.
For sure. Go for it, Knoxy.
I was just going to say, so like Kax and I started this podcast like during the Olympics last year. Our first pilot episode, I think, was like a week before the Olympics. And like the idea was just to try to give people some of these stories of like these athletes, whatever. And like, frankly, like we didn't know you at all because like you've always up until even in the PWHPA, like it was American teams, Canadian teams. So like we only know you from like watching you on the ice or seeing you compete against, you know, our friends who are on the Canadian national team. And like, you bring that intensity. Like, if you've seen Abby play, you know it. Like, girl is not afraid of the mix-ups. And then it was like, this year we get to like kind of hear more about who you are as a person, like in the locker room. And I'm just like, man, this girl's fucking awesome. Like, I went from being like, oh, I can't stand her. Like, look at her pushing our girls around, to being like, no, she's fucking cool. Like, I want to hang out with her. Let's go grab beers. Like, it does give like a really cool, I don't know, understanding for all the players that national team, non-national team, Canadian, American, like wherever you fall, it's like, there's like a growing respect among players, I think. And you've kind of like made a name for yourself in the PWHPA as the fun girl on Sonnet. Like, it's just the way it is. You may not have been trying to do it, but that's what you did.
Well, that's what I always laugh, because people are like, you are probably one of the most like intense and just like, you are going crazy on the ice. I'm like, yeah, well, I want to win. But then I'm like, off the ice, like everybody's like, well, you have no concerns off the ice. Like, you were just like,
you leave it all there.
And that's why everybody, like, I get this all the time. People are like, I thought you were so scary. I'm like, I'm literally not scary at all. And people are like, if you only know me from hockey, you are. And I was like, oh, I'm like the polar opposite. Like, even like once the game's over, I'm like, whatever. Like, how you doing? Like, Sarah used to always be like after games, she'd be like, Abby, like, people just hate you. I'm like, yeah. And she's like, no, and I'm always just like, no, you don't understand. She's great. And like people are like, her, and they're like, and now they're like, oh yeah, she's actually really great. And so he's like, I tried to tell you. It's just like you can't only know her from hockey.
And I know that is one thing for sure that's what we're trying to do too via the podcast, which is what Knoxy alluded to. But like the intensity, that like how loud you get on the ice, like the fake slap shot because someone whistled and you took a penalty and you're like out of your mind. And I remember being like beside Clarky and she goes, that's just Abby. It's like, what do you mean? And then you hear this story and you're like, oh, okay. Like the girl's fucking intense on the ice, but she gives it all. Like that, it makes sense. It's in the game. It's 60 minutes, all in, all out, boom. As soon as the locker room, you're the first one to prank people. You're the first one to put you put, what'd you do last showcase? You put you whipped cream in Clarky's face after the game, right?
We were creaming Mac, our coach, because it was her birthday. And I was not even supposed to do it. I looked up, Hannah had it in her hands, Hannah Brandt, and she's like sitting there.
Of course, you and Hannah, for sure.
Well, Hannah was like blatantly like holding it, and she kept looking around going, I'm not doing it. And I'm like, Hannah. And like Mac is like distracted, like has her head pointed, and we're like, it was time. Perfect. And she like hands it to Claire Thompson, and Tommy's like, what? And like listen, like, somebody do it. So I grabbed it. And, like, I was like, good God. But then we had an extra one because Hannah took so long. Like we were supposed to have two. So I was like, somebody get Clarky in here. She won't be mad if I do it to her too. So.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing. And that's actually a perfect segue into the segment that I named That Rocks, which is where we ask PWHPA members and staff what their favorite Abby Roque moment is on the Secret Dream Gap Tour, and you kind of give us the backstory. So we've already got one with the whipped cream on Laura Mack for her birthday last showcase. What else we got here? Oh, talked about churro, the money celebration. Give us the backstory.
Yeah, explain yourself, man.
Tell us the backstory.
Okay, so I think we were just like, we need a win. We were like, we need to score, and I was like, all right, like. I remember they gave us like our per diem or something for the weekend, and I was like, okay, I think it was honestly in Canadian dollars too. So I was like, okay, let's like do something with this. So I was like, money on the board here, first goal scorer, like takes home the pot. Like I'm up there being like, who wants in? Like writing all these names down, thinking like, I'm not going to win. So I was like telling people they could put like Tim Hortons gift cards in. I was like, whatever you want. I'm like, yeah. And then I obviously Jenna gives me a great pass in the game. I score. I didn't even think about it. I'm like doing my thing, and Claire Thompson, like, love her, just the funniest person. All of a sudden, is like, the money, Abby, the money. Like, I'm like, what? And I'm like, oh my God, I won the money. That's when everybody on the bench was like doing that at me. So I was like speeding to the bench, like, woo! And I think everybody thought I was just being like probably a cocky asshole. And I was like, oh no, like I really won money. Like I wasn't just being like, ooh.
I was just loving it. I was like, man, like that's a sick celly. Like good on you. Like great goal. And then I heard the story afterwards. I was like, oh, there's actually like a reason behind it. I was just like, oh yeah, get that money. Like go for it. But that's awesome.
No, just like I was like, ooh, because people did it to me first. There's like a picture and Tommy's behind me doing it. Like,
I love the nicknames, man. The nicknames that Canadians will give to U.S. players and U.S. players will give to Canadian players. I love them because they're all different than their regular nicknames. Tommy, love it. Is it like Thompson? Is that her nickname?
And they were trying to call Kendall Coyne Kenny at one point. And
they did. I remember Kenny stuck. Kenny stuck for Adidas. It was Jill and Nursey started that. Like
stuck for sure.
That's funny. They're like, I don't know if she likes it, but she doesn't really have a choice.
Yeah, we didn't ask her.
Yeah, US stuff, we've been on a line recently. I'll be like, Kenny! And I'm like, ooh, where did that come
from? That's funny.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
And then,
the next one,
go ahead.
The next one, actually, so it was one of our, someone, I don't know who said it to Knoxy, but it was one of my favorite moments as well, too. We were in our locker room, and you were playing next game or whatever in Pittsburgh. And, Lee comes beside me and she goes, come, Abby's about to do the warm up thing. And I'm like, what does she do in the warm up? What is like, why do I need to come and watch Abby Roque? Like, what do you mean? She's like, no, she's going to do like, they're going to film. And then Hannah told me and texted me, like, we need to go in the stands and watch. And sure enough, you're doing the whole well, the whole team is following your freaking on ice warm up, which do you actually do all of that in normal? Really?
Yeah. So I had no idea.
The legs, everything. Okay, go through it, because we had cameras, we had people in the stands, and us players were just watching, just like dying.
I had no idea.
It was so good.
I was like going on the ice, obviously, and like I'm like one of the people, like I do like a hot lap and I'm like stretching until literally like we move the pucks up. I'm like, I don't need to see pucks right now. Like if I just finish stretching early, I just kind of sit there on a knee. I'm like, I'm good. And I'm like doing my normal routine, which is just like way too much. It's like, I'm like doing things that people just don't do in the ice, like touching my toes. I'm like flailing my legs around, like doing whatever.
Flipping on your back scorpion or whatever the heck it was.
Doing all these things. But like I like love the stretching. So I was like, all right, just like doing my thing. And I look up and Kelly Panic was like videotaping me, but I thought she was just like, I don't know, videotaping me for fun. So and I'm like, hey, do I know? Like every single person on the ice is copying me, like doing my exact warm up. So like people didn't know if they should like wave or not. So they're like, it's not part of the warm up. I had no idea what was going on. I was like, I think I would have noticed that Hillary was gone that weekend, and normally she's right next to me and I'm watching her. But like I didn't obviously have her, so I was just like alone. And then I finally like rolled over to my back and I noticed everybody was like, nobody was shooting pucks in all like yet, and people were rolling on the
like
back.
Jenner's on her back, Thompson's on her, like everyone is doing.
And I was like, oh, they're copying me. So then I was like dying laughing. I guess Jenny was like, at one point was like, okay, like, are we done? And she was like, I need to go like shoot my pucks. And I was like,
well, I was going to say, and
so
Jenner is like the complete opposite, I would say, as you pre-game, I would imagine, because you're just like,
to be focused.
Get loose, whatever. Jenny's already done like 3 hours of warming up off the ice, and now she's on the ice. Like she's probably like, okay, this is funny, but I need to go shoot my 10 pucks exactly where I always shoot them every game. Like, so
that was when we name tagged her and we put like Baby June's mom on her name tag, and like some of the girls like grabbed her for like a picture, like, and we're like, smile. And like, she was like pissed. She was like, he's like, why are we asking for pictures and warm ups? Like, I'm trying to warm up. She didn't like a name tag on her. And I was like, and like, I was in this photo and everybody was like, Jenner was like, I understood after why people wanted the picture, but I was like, no, not. Like,
why are you disturbing my warm up? Yeah. My routine, right? She does like look like she needs a really tight routine and needs to follow it, and then to have a good game. You know what I mean? Like superstitious.
It's confirmed then. Sorry, excuse me. My gosh. It's confirmed then. So you had a hand in that churro name tag prank.
I had a hand.
Just a small hand.
Like Hannah Brandt's a big prankster. Hill, like we were just, you got a good crew in us. We even like the first like
the Sonnet team.
Yeah, it's just like we'd like to have some fun, and we were like up to no good. We were like, all right, let's like go see who we can get, like having some fun, and then we got Jenny. It was funny too because we were trying to distract her because we were doing it late, and she was like coming in or something like from warm ups, and like Hillary like grabbed some tape and went, "Wah!" I remember I was like, what? And Hillary was like, Jenner, like, isn't this tape like so weird? And Jenner was like, I don't know.
Oh my god, those two trying to like, that could, no.
I was just like, what? Like, what was that distraction? And Hannah, I guess, was like trying to distract her outside. She goes, but I had nothing to say.
Hey, Jenner. Oh, she's gone. Like,
I was like, okay.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. That is so good. And then, okay, we'll kind of round this out here. Again, like an hour just flew by. Like, I feel like this could be a 3-hour episode.
We had so much more too.
We had so much more. The PWHPA mic'd you up for a warm up, and some of the highlights were you threw a puck in the net and said, "This goal's for you, Mackenzie Steffen." The Canadian D. We'll put a link in our kind of description here for this episode, so you can go see it if you haven't. But there was like one part in the warm up where somebody was telling you like, oh, you got to pass the D on the dump in 3-on-2 breakout regroup 3-on-2. And you're just like, what? Like, what? No, we don't do that in America. Like, it was two Canadian D being like, you got to pass it to us. And then what's that? Sorry.
I just had I didn't know, like, I was like, I think they were waiting for passes like too earlier than that too, and I just kept dumping it past them.
Just ripping the bar.
Go pick it up.
Exactly.
Sorry.
And then, of course, slapper. Wow, the wide open net. So we'll link that in, but just some great moments. Like I feel like we could mic you up every game and we would never run out of content. You're just so much fun on the ice.
You want to make it like during the game.
There's going to be a lot of beep, beep.
Yeah, even like I remember the first year they mic'd up like Lee Steckline at MSG, and the people were like, the Bauer people who mic'd him up were like, we had to cut out half the clips because we could hear you. I was like, sorry, Lee. And like in one of the clips, it's like me standing next to Lee on the bench, and I'm like, that is not a penalty. Put it in. They were like, it's basically you.
Just like explicit.
Yeah, but I mean, that was fun. I like the mic up is fun. I think in general, I like when they do this stuff with like behind the scenes, like asking them, like this stuff. Like I like when people get to show their personalities and like talk to people. Like even that mic up, I like always, if we're playing Soupy, I like love to rip pucks at her down the ice. She gets so mad. And she like even pucks at me, and I was like dodging them.
And like fucking with a goalie's routine is like probably the best if you're a player. The worst if you're a goalie, but
yeah, if you know Soupy, she's got her routine too. So it's always, she kills me.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
So nice.
Well, you guys, the listeners can try to catch Team Sonnet play Team Adidas this weekend, actually, February 10th, which is Friday in Niagara, hosted by the Niagara Ice Dogs of the OHL. And in the morning, Harvey's is playing Team Sonnet out in Peterborough at 11 a.m. So we've got 4 games on tap for this OHL weekend. You guys are coming back to Canada. And I was talking to Hannah Brandt and Savannah Harmon last or 2 episodes ago, and they were just like, oh God, we're so tired of Canada. Like, cannot wait for some of our American showcases. But the OHL does a fantastic job. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love the general area of Toronto. The hard part for us is always the customs in the Toronto Pearson Airport.
Oh yeah,
that's why it always gets so brutal. Like we always have an experience there, so I'm like, not flying into that airport, I'm good with. But playing that area, like obviously hockey's awesome in Canada and Ontario, so we're really excited.
It makes for a little bit more of an adventure for our American friends, and we also have games on. Sorry, go ahead, Kax.
No, I was just saying catching flights and everything is always a story and a half after showcase. Yeah. So yeah.
There's been some good ones. That's what for sure.
Until we get our private planes, this is just the reality that we're in. But I hear a helicopter's on order for this weekend, so we'll see if that arrives. And then February 11th this weekend, so Saturday. First up at 1 p.m., we've got Adidas and Harvey's in Barrie, hosted by the Barrie Colts, and Sonnet again, where you can catch Abby Roque take on Scotiabank in Kitchener, hosted by the Kitchener Rangers. So we're looking forward to those games this weekend. Abby Roque, as I said earlier, leading her team in points right now. I think you're 3rd in the league, which is really impressive when you look at the plus minus of Team Sonnet. Right now, we're not chirping here.
Lexi,
we're not chirping.
Sonnet was coming back. Hey, Abby, I will say this. Last ep or the one before, I can't remember. Sonnet's going to have a great second half because I considered Christmas being whatever to split. Haley Skarupa joined your team. We're seeing some chemistry here. I think Sonnet's coming back a little bit. So
we have the team chemistry. I'm telling you, like, awesome. I love our team. Like, I have the most fun with those girls. It's awesome. But for sure, I think we're just building up. We're just getting ready for championship weekend.
There you go. Oh.
Championship
weekend.
Actually, if you're listening to this, we've just announced championship weekend. I hope I can say it. In California.
Yeah, baby. March 10th, 12th.
We're so stoked. Yeah, the players have known about this for quite some time, and it's been a huge build-up, but we're excited. So we're hitting Tampa Bay first, February 24th, 26th. Washington Capitals hosting us March 4th, 5th, and then California. So all those details are at pwhpa.com or follow us on social media at pwhpa. That's all we have time for, Abby, but honestly, you are welcome back anytime. This is your show as much as it is ours. I feel how much we talk about you. So thank you so much for coming on the show, and we'll look forward to seeing you this weekend.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I had a great time.
Thanks, Abby. Good luck this weekend. Crush it.
Yeah, thank you.
Sonnet Slappers coming at ya.
The Knoxy and Kax Show on SDPN, produced in partnership with the PWHPA and presented by Sports Interaction.
Want to bet?
Follow Knoxy and Kax on Twitter at 27Knoxy and at Karell Emard. The views expressed are those of the individuals and are not necessarily those of the PWHPA. Check out sdpn.ca for more Knoxy and Kax and the rest of the SDPN crew.
She scores!